this video, I will show you everything you need to know to create new items in your inventory. First, click on the Inventory button. This is where we will be creating new inventory items. Before we create any new items, there are a few things that you may want to set up first, depending on how much information you want to enter for each item. Go back to the main AutoFluent screen and click the gear icon. In the Inventory column, you can configure item groups, price levels, item types, oil viscosities, and manufacturers. The setup of each of these items is covered in another video. In your new AutoFluent system, each item that you create can be placed into different item groups. Item groups have several different benefits. For one, if you want to be able to track the sales of specific groups of items in your inventory, such as light truck tires or brake labor, you can create groups that only include those items. You can also base your parts and labor markups based on their associated item group, giving you a lot more flexibility on managing and adjusting those markups. Finally, if you have AutoFluent linked with your accounting software, you can set each item group up to post different general ledger accounts based on that item group. Adding additional item groups above what comes with your system is completely optional. The Price Levels button is where you can name all of the price levels that you want to use in your system and set up special price levels. Item types are the system designations for the different inventory items in your system. The system knows how to treat the item based on its associated item type. Because changing these incorrectly can cause serious issues, the configuration of item types can only be done by AutoFluent support technicians. Oil viscosities let you enter the different oil types and viscosities that you use in your shop. The main benefit of this setup is that you can configure each lube or oil change package to only pull in the appropriate oil types that identify with that particular lube package you're using. Manufacturers is where you can enter in all of the parts manufacturers that you want to assign to items in your inventory. This is completely optional. Let's go back to the inventory screen. Ideally, you will want to have a standard in mind for how you want your inventory to be entered into your system. This will make sure that everything in your system is easy to find and much easier to manage. Click the New button. The first selection that you should make on this window is the type of the part that you are creating. The item's type determines not only the information that can be entered for this particular item, but also how the item is treated by the AutoFluent system. Clicking the drop-down for type, you can see a vast variety of available choices. A comment is a line or paragraph or more text that you create in inventory that can be used as a standalone item or placed within a packaged job. An example of a comment item would be a disclaimer that you would enter into different packages you have created in the system. You could create one comment that could be reused over and over again in different packages or wherever you have a need for it. If you click either the Postcards or Email tab, you can create a postcard or email from existing templates, or you can create one right on the screen. You can set a time in the future when the email or postcard will be ready to send. You can add this item as a line item on a work order, and the system will generate a postcard or email after the customer has been invoiced out, and apply the appropriate date that you want this email or postcard ready to be sent out on. A discount invoice or discount item type will let you create an unlimited amount of discounts in your system. You can set very specific parameters of each discount, including the discount percentage, minimum and maximum discount amounts, and what type of items the discount applies to. These types of discounts will show up as a line item on the work order and invoice. Fees can be created for any application, such as an environmental fee, a disposal fee, or restocking fee. A freight item is an item that provides a set freight price that you would charge your customer as needed. You can create gift cards of any denomination in this system. You would then create a discount invoice item in the system with the same denomination as the gift card for redemption of the gift card. A heading is a text-based item that can be used as the first line in a package type of item. Not only will the heading print on the invoice as boldface and italicized, but on the work order screen the heading will be a darker color than the rest of the package. This helps separate them visually on the screen from other items entered on the work order. A labor item can be set up for every different job your shop provides. You can assign a labor department to each labor item and enter how many whole or fractions of hours this labor job takes to complete. Each labor item also has the ability for you to attach an email or a postcard to it. For instance, if you created an oil change labor item, you could assign an email or postcard to that item that will generate an email or postcard that is sent to the customer 3 months in the future. Complete setup of email and postcards is covered in another video. A lube package is a type of item designed strictly for the building of an oil change package in your system. You can assign each item in your inventory that can be accessed from each lube package. The setup and usage of the lube package is covered in another video. A miscellaneous part is a part that acts just like a stocked part, but the system doesn't keep track of how much inventory you actually have on hand for that item. A miscellaneous part can be something like cleanup materials, nuts and bolts, or even engine oil purchased by the barrel. Outside labor, outside parts, and outside tires are all items that are purchased from outside vendors and act like a wildcard item. When added to a work order, you can enter in the description for the item, the vendor that you purchased the item from, and the item's cost. This allows you to enter an item on a work order without having to create an entirely new part in your inventory. A package is simply an item that holds other items. If you have common jobs such as a tire installation or a coolant flush, you can enter all of the items that go into each job such as labor, parts, whether inventoried or outside parts, fees, and many other items. You can set up a fixed total for the package, override the normal inventory price, or make the item optional. If you set an item as optional, the system will ask you if you want to include that item when you add the package to a work order. You can even decide how you want the package to display when presented on the screen or on paper. A part is a part or item that you keep in stock and keep track of in your inventory. A subtotal item is an item that subtotals the items directly above it. You will probably never need to create one, but there is a system default subtotal item when you need it. Supplies can be set up to charge a customer a fee for shop supplies that is based on a flat fee or a percentage of the items that you've added to the work order. You can also set up automatic shop supplies in your system that will be added to each work order. If you have set up automatic shop supplies, you can disable them from the work order screen when you don't want them charged to a customer. You can also disable automatic shop supplies for specific customers in the customers area of AutoFluent. A tire item is very similar to a part item, with the main difference being that you can enter the federal excise tax amount for each tire. The tire item probably uses the next linked item function more than any other item in AutoFluent because you can link a tire installation package to each tire in your inventory. Finally, a warranty item is created in a similar fashion as supplies are. They will calculate their costs based on the item on the work order that has been entered directly above it. You can set up as many warranty items as needed in the system. When entering a new part, the first box is the size item box. If you are entering any item into the system, a good practice is to give the item a size item related to the type of item it is. Your air filters might be entered as air filter or AF. Brake calipers and brake pads might be entered as brake parts. If you are entering tires, most people find success by using the tire size as the size item. The catalog box is where you will enter the unique identifier for this part. Each part will ultimately be identified by the catalog number that you assign to it. If you attempt to create a part that has the same catalog number as an existing part, the system will add AA to the end of the catalog number for the newly created part. The description box is the description of the part that will print on your work order and invoices. If you have a lot of inventory, it's a good idea to have detailed descriptions as another tool of finding a part when doing an inventory search. For this video, I will be creating a part, which will be a set of brake pads that I purchase regularly from a particular vendor. This part will have a size item of brake pads. Since I don't have a catalog numbering system of my own, I'm going to go ahead and use the vendor's part number as my catalog number. For the description, I will use the vendor's part description. Next, I will select an item group for this part. I will use my brake parts item group. Now I will enter my cost for this item. The system will automatically calculate your configured price markup for this part. To enter the vendor information for this part, you have two options. If I only purchase this part from one vendor, I can enter the vendor part number here and then select the vendor from the drop-down list of vendors. Vendors must be entered into AutoFluent first in the vendor section of the software. If I will be purchasing this part from more than one vendor, I can click the Vendors tab. When I click New, I can select this part's vendor from the drop-down menu, enter the vendor part number and catalog cost. When I save my changes, the system will make this the default vendor for this item and set it as such in the Details tab for this part. I can add as many vendors' parts information as needed. Now that I have entered all of the pertinent information for this part, I will click Save Changes. If you're going to be entering in a series of parts with almost the same information, you can click the Copy button. Nearly all of the information from the previously entered part is copied to the new part. You just need to change the catalog number and cost and tweak the description as needed. If you want to enter your current quantity of this item on hand, you can either select the part and click the Adjustments button, or click the Available box on that part's Details tab. Just enter the amount on hand in the Quantity to Add or Subtract window and click Post Adjustment. You can also assign this item to a bin location in your system at this time if you'd like to. The item's quantity will now be set and the adjustment will be posted in the system. Videos for creating lube items and packages in your inventory are covered in other videos.